Welcome back, folks. Tom and Toli bringing you the action this time around. Coming up next is going to be NRG versus Mouse. Now, everybody really competing for LAN. NRG at the top right now.
Well, Rival, after that win before, is going to be able to solidify their spot at LAN with Team Dignitas only at 6-4. They can't topple over Rival. It's up to some weird stipulations between NRG and Mouse remaining.
Exactly. NRG and Mouse, well, they're going to play next, which is very excellent. Mouse need to 2-0 both sets this week. Not only do they have to beat NRG completely, not even dropping a game, they need to win both games here versus NRG. And then later on during the week, Mouse have to win both games against Obey. And then that just means that they're tied.
Yep. Because NRG also need to lose their games against not only Mouse, but against SK Gaming. And against the winless team of SK Gaming, I'm not expecting this tiebreaker to be a reality.
Oh my, could you imagine?
That would be wild, though.
And I mean, you know what I mean? I even made like SK are not a good team, but at the end of the day, all 12 teams in the Smite Pro League are good and could theoretically win at any day.
Yeah.
Theoretically, if you told me that Funball and Lobster beat NRG, I wouldn't go, I'd be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be completely, it's not completely outlandish. Oh my goodness.
Like if NRG have a bad week and then SK just all of a sudden come out of nowhere, it could very well happen, especially with Mouse on the up and up. It's a very realistic thing that Mouse could potentially beat out NRG. It's a little pulling for a stretch if SK beat NRG, though.
It's very nice of you to say. I do think it's very possible and plausible that Mouse win today. NRG, the strong top card on your screen. They've won 2 world championships. They have traded out their Guardian, but things look even better with EmilZy at the helm, and NRG don't really show any signs of slowing down.
Definitely. I think that they're relying on their support, new blood, to revitalize the team with a furious fire to find the victories in the summer split.
Now, these guys are tenured in what they do. Adapting in the jungle is always a focal point, but for me, you know, everybody likes to watch this guy. Adapting is just flash.
He's always looking for those fancy plays, and he's able to find them because of what the rest of his teammates do. Yammyn, such an important mid laner that can hold his own or follow up whenever necessary, and that's what makes NRG so scary offensively. But the question is, how can they bounce back when the pressure is onto them? When Adapting doesn't have a speed buff, he doesn't look like the same Adapting.
Yammyn always looks like Yammyn, which I think is one of the biggest boons for NRG. I think that Adapting has these games where he goes 20-1, and people call him the best player in the world, and I'm not saying he's not deserving of it. He totally is. But when you watch Yammyn, he's just so consistent. He's consistently at a 9, while the rest of his team sits there at a 10, and then or at an 8, and sometimes turns up with a 10. I don't think I can't remember the last bad game Yammyn had.
Season 2 Worlds MVP, I think it was Epsilon that was made after him, being able to just cycle between also Chiron and not just a soul, a lot of a flexible god pool that he brings to the table for NRG, and the rest of his teammates follow suit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also the key there, is that consistency and also the creativity. I mean, he's a flexible spectacle. He can play whatever he wants in that middle lane. Mouse, though, certainly flexible in their own right. We know all about Dardez. We know all about Cherryo. But BigManTingz, the latest addition to the squad, I think the middle laner has been just out of control. And the way he and Cherryo here work together, Toli, is a very, very big deal.
Being able to bring out some magical junglers puts the question mark in the enemy's minds of like, all right, how do we really resolve this pressure? Do we try to lock him in with some walls between Thor and Odin, or do we just look to build some more tankiness? And that's what allows Cherryo to not only get away with the Mage Assassin, but also the Guardians that he'll play. He'll play the Kabrakans and the Athenas and still have teams waste some bans away.
And here's BigManTingz pulling out the Ho Yi mid, right? Mouse can do a lot of different things, and they succeed off of a lot of different things, and I think their understanding of the game is what allows them to be so successful.
They're just synergizing very well together, on top of Spudio just recently joining the mix outside of Jermaine. Dardez has always been able to bring the pressure from the support role, but the question always remained is like, what does he do in the mid lane when he's not in the duo lane? Spudio can hold his own, and that's something that Mouse really prioritized in picks and bans, is some of the early hunter picks.
Well, let's get into game number 1 here on the P's and B's. Left-hand side, NRG will be the first pick overall.
trying to make something happen. I'm not sure what the direction they're going to go for week number 6 is. Cherryo has been recently shown a little bit of love, especially with a Zhonghui. But during the set against Rival, Cherryo did go under the radar, so maybe not going to be the case for NRG.
Certainly possible. I've really enjoyed watching the Zhonghui performances, though. So, unfortunately, not right now. NRG bans him out, knows what else could be. And so, well, that's going to be the case. No Artemis as well. NRG have a second ban here.
Could be the Chang'e if they really are worried about Nika in the solo lane, but
Global.
Instead the Athena from Cherryo potentially, or even Dardez, is a little troublesome because the Athena is such a great set-up utility guardian that allows BigManTingz, even potentially the Ryzen if he wants.
Mouse are actually going to pass this ban here. Very interesting, totally. Break down the strat.
I think that they wanted to pass the clock immediately to NRG. Like, if NRG took a long time on that second ban, you just pass the ban immediately and put the clock back on them.
Well, NRG go for Thoth right away. Mouse are going to respond here. A number of options available. Hebo is still here. They've been a very successful jungler for them in the past. Sylvanas has been Dardez's go-to guardian lately. I feel like this is a made-up Gandhi stat. I mean, I feel like 95% of the pulls Dardez has landed.
A Gandhi stat?
Yeah.
What was it, like 83% of the knockups or something like that? Yeah. Chang'e will be the selection. I think that Dardez with the Sylvanas is a great idea because it's just, it does whatever you want between offensive and defensive, between peels, between engaging with the blink, and just the pulls through the wall. It's not like a Sobek pluck where you put yourself out of position. You're still stationary. You're still being able to be safe by your teammates.
There's the Cherryo going to be paired up with the Odin. Odin a great choice against not just the Sylvanas, but also the Chang'e. So I think this is a nice pick for NRG. And Odin, flexible as well. Could be played in the support position by EmilZy, could be played solo, could even be played jungle if Adapting wants to go there, although I doubt that's the case. Discordia, the mid laner of choice for Mouse. Hopefully they don't put it solo like we've seen Trifecta do.
No, I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. Discordia, great utility in terms of control. Looking for the strife, looking for the madness effect if you hit two players.
Yep.
Between Chang'e, between Sylvanas. I think that we're looking for a lot of just control from Mouse, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hun Bats could even be the selection for Cherryo.
Yeah, it'd be a really nice look. Cherryo not only strong with the Hun Bats, but it would be a great choice against this composition. NRG, however, focusing more on Spudio, new player here, banning out the Hunters. And so Mouse now looking, again, we need a jungler. Arguably, Chang'e could jungle. And with Ho Yi, our answer will not be delivered. Mouse hanging on to that ambiguity.
I think that they want to put the pressure onto Adapting and not find the perfect counter pick. So Hun Bats eliminated from Cherryo's hands. It will be for Adapting.
But I like this. I like Mouse doing this because Adapting is a hard carry jungler. And Adapting, the Hun Bats doesn't feel like the Circuit, right? You get ulted a lot, but you don't feel just completely oppressed by a Mercury or a Circuit. The Hun Bats can feel a little bit light. But totally, Hun Bats and Hades, one of the more classic beads burners.
That's what is exactly I was about to point out. Being able to have control on Mouse's side is fought back by NRG's Hades and Hun Bats. Last pick selection. A non-traditional jungler for Cherryo's point, but still a great assassin being able to get in and out of action very quickly.
I'll be with you. I'll be honest with you, Tully. I mean, let me be real with you, Chief. I thought Mouse had this draft upside. I thought this was a great draft for Mouse up until this Hades lock-in from NRG. The double beads burn really, really scares me.
It's definitely difficult to handle it. And honestly, I'm surprised that they picked the Ho Yi in that spot when NRG didn't need a hunter. It was Mouse that needed a jungler, and they needed a jungler to jump over the cage. So you can't get away from that Odin cage.
It's going to be a little bit tough. We'll see if Cherryo and the boys can do it. Game 1, NRG versus Mouse.
Well, the big sets, they keep on going, don't they, Taco? Finch and Taco going to be here as we go into Mouse up against NRG. And a little bit curious there. I know some of y'all were wondering, passing that first ban, I mean, if they're going to go double sustain, maybe ban the Ode, but maybe they don't want to tip their hands.
I have been waiting for teams to really start utilizing this pass ban strategy. It is a pretty effective method, even though some might view it as a little bit cheesy. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. You don't normally get to pick all of the priority guys that you want to in that first pick slot, and even in the second place position where you're left to respond there, you still sometimes want to leave yourselves open with a couple of those priority choices. By skipping the ban, not only have they set themselves up to get a composition that I think really suits a lot of their team's strengths.
It looks good,
but
don't it?
It's also just a really great way to get into your opponent's head.
And it also, like you said, kind of mitigates some of the advantage of going first, which is that you typically get that priority pick for yourself in that first selection slot. Well, now you leave open the door for more priority picks, so it kind of mitigates some of that. That could be what Mouse were trying to go for there as they pass on that first one. But who do you all think is going to win this match? Go ahead and vote for us now in the Mixer poll. Let us know if they won you over, perhaps, with the pass ban strat.
I like it. I think if you're going to tackle a team like NRG, this is one of the approaches that you can take. It's one of the best ways that I think is not even utilized nearly as often as it should be, because a lot of these underdog teams, and I don't even know if I should really call Mouse an underdog anymore.
Maybe up against NRG, but you're right. There's certainly on the resurgence. Mouse feels like a very strong competitor in their own right as we move into game one. They've been able to procure a pretty heavy sustained composition for themselves with the Chang'e and the Sylvanas. Gonna let Nika pilot that Chang'e over in the solo lane. BigManTingz gonna bring Discordia into mid.
As strong as their sustain might be, though, they've still got to make it to that mid-late game where the sustain can actually become relevant. As it currently stands, BigManTingz, Cherryo, Nika, even Spudio to an extent, I think they're all going to suffer from a little bit of that lack of early game clear presence. I also think that NRG, considering the circumstances, did a really fantastic job in drafting this Odin.
Well, the early game clear seems to have worked for them, at least here. The ricochet bounce causing some problems for EmilZy very early on, as they've already cleared the wave and now they're pressuring them into the jungle. EmilZy, though, has Blink. Now he's out of combat. He could use it if he needs, but he should be okay. He's made it away from that early pressure attempt.
Could have been worse. I'm not sure that triple bounce of the ricochet actually managed to connect. Definitely the first two parts, but I still don't think that the third one managed to hit it. emilitoo going to be level 2 already in the lane, as EmilZy now choosing to aggress onto Dardez, and all the while adapting's just invading Mouse's jungle.
And Spudio takes a ton of damage from emilitoo, only needs a few autos to really start to bring that damage in from Spudio. Adapting is going to strip away the jungle, even come grab those back XP camps. In fact, Yammyn could be in trouble now. Cherryo making the early rotation, doesn't have the pull, has to use beads there. Does Cherryo try and get away from the stun?
It was almost an uneven trade out, but now Spudio actually going aggressive one more time against emilitoo. This could be first blood, but he missed the ricochet.
Dardez takes care of it though anyway. First blood goes to Mouse, but Adapting wants to come in, an uneven thing. Spudio in some trouble, has to run away, can't get away from the bounce. Adapting finds the first kill for NRG.
Did you see the crit for 100 there?
It's nice,
That's
isn't it?
what really takes Spudio out.
That's nice when you're able to get those early crits coming in. Adapting already level 3 comes in and finds a kill, but not before Dardez is able to grab first blood for himself. Aggression is the name of the game early on. And Yammyn in some trouble in mid. Cherryo pulls him back in, and I believe that might have been a minion that takes care of him.
A Mouse coming in hot here against NRG. They are not scared to take up the early game brawls, despite their composition not necessarily being as favorable for it.
No, I would have thought it was Mouse trying to avoid it, especially with Dardez on this Sylvanas. I know he gets the early clear, but on the immobile Sylvanas, I mean, EmilZy with an Odin could easily punish them. A little bit surprised that they've looked to fight so soon.
Drawing things back all the way over to that dual lane first blood. Spudio knows that he chokes a little bit on the ricochet, no problem. Dardez manages to help him out there. Adapting's rotation only ends up being promising because of the fact he finds that lucky crit off the Sacred Monkey bounce. So the big thing for me is the pressure Yammyn has been succumbed to in this mid lane. Mouse, Cherryo could have probably rotated over into duo and maybe found another response kill onto Adapting, or even a follow-up kill onto EmilZy. Instead, he chooses to stick alongside of BigManTingz so they can effectively punish Yammyn in the mid lane for adapting, having spent so much time in duo. And I just like the distribution of pressure from Mouse, drawing attention to not just one, but two lanes at the same exact time.
And that's smart, too. Once they recognize Adapting, going to commit to the jungle, going to come over to the lane and try and even things up because Spudio and Dardez go aggressive. Then Cherryo is like, I'm not really going to make it. Let me try and punish Yammyn here in mid, and let me try one more time. Pulls him in. Apple just barely off the mark. Yammyn has to stick around, though. Coming back in as BigManTingz, can't find the stripe either. Now Adapting is here to try and turn things around. BigManTingz takes too much damage. Adapting should be able to find the autos necessary with the jump and the slow.
The slow is what ends up being his demise. BigManTingz wanted Yammyn so badly, and you just have to find the golden apple ultimate off of that. EmilZy gets some nice bird bomb damage against Spudio, and emilitoo going to make sure to follow it up. Actually forces out the purification beads, and now EmilZy and Dardez really trying to play aggressive.
The slow comes out. Yammyn finds Cherryo in the mid lane. Dardez gets the pull. emilitoo gets brought back in, but the dash allows him to reposition. Problems in the middle lane, but problems in duo as well. Spudio goes aggressive with the dive bomb, gets away from the jump, but Adapting is looping back in. Mousesports in a whole heap of trouble.
Oh, it's an absolute catastrophe for Mouse. Adapting uses the purification beads preemptively, but it's still going to be them falling.
Dardez, how do they turn that around? Finds the kill onto Adapting. The ricochet from Spudio was pretty big there as well. emilitoo gets pulled back in. If you need further proof that Dardez is a nut, you got it here, 3-0-0.
He's going for the triple kill, the unofficial triple kill against EmilZy. He just needs the pull to connect. EmilZy doesn't have enough for the jump, and he finds it. Double kill for Dardez officially, triple on the back end if you count the Adapting. This is a 4-0 Sylvanas.
emilitoo does come in and try and even things back up with that ultimate. Rathatira creates some space for him. He dashes in aggressively. Spudio can't find the shots. emilitoo lining up a double now as he takes down Spudio. That's gonna put a big dent in the great duo lane start for Mouse.
Wish Spudio would have backed there. One more wave syndrome. Gonna claim another life here today. So early on. Only 5 minutes in, by the way. And 5 kills respectively for both of these teams.
It's insane. Now we've had 10 kills already in a mere 5.5 minutes. But give all the credit you can give to Dardez, man. He's had some excellent plays early on. Now, there's been a ton of great play from Spudio as well. They've done an excellent job in the duo lane, even under duress from Adapting. He finds the ricochet to get some damage, but Cherryo in trouble. We're not even gonna have time to break it down. Adapting comes in and hits him with the overhand smash. maniaKK just kind of celebrating a little bit in the pillar.
And one of the downsides of having that Chang'e in the solo lane is you can't play it as aggressively as a Hades in solo. From the get-go, maniaKK in a little bit of an advantage here, but now he could be picked off because he's stuck.
Waiting on the minion wave. Oh no, he's not. He's going to go through the tower line early. Stripe doesn't land. BigManTingz can't find. Adapting with the Fear No Evil creates space. Yammyn finds the shot and takes down Tingz early. NRG come out swinging.
Sometimes you think you have all the right answers, and NRG still just creates their own option choices for themselves. That was just beautiful teamwork all the way around. maniaKK holding off on the dash until Adapting is in position and ready to drop the Fear No Evil instantly, just to make sure that maniaKK lives with the 1 HP.
It's so interesting because maniaKK doesn't want to go through the tower line, because if he does, then he's just going to get caught out by BigManTingz on the stripe. So options A through C are bad, right? So NRG go, well, what if we just have Adapting hit a sick Fear No Evil and create some space to get him out of there? What if we just do that? And that's what NRG do. They create the peel. maniaKK survives 3-1 and 2 now for the jungle and bots.
Not only that, but a 2-level lead to boot. This is going to be some pretty rough catching up for Cherryo now. What was once a pretty strong start for Mouse has started to work against them. Kind of just seemed a little bit lost there on what to do on that right-hand side over in solo. They needed to punish a little bit sooner against maniaKK, but we saw how quickly Cherryo just got blown up between Adapting and the two.
Gonna try and come back in time to defend their own speed, because Adapting is yet again in their jungle. There's not even time to go back and talk about everything that's happened, because NRG have constantly pressed the gas, and they do so again on Nika here in the solo lane. The monkey bounce is going to hit, but Adapting not quite crazy enough to blink to that one.
If this is Mouse end of the summer split, can you imagine the Mouse that we might see start of fall?
Give them all that time to practice to just get this much better. I mean, this is NRG, very clearly a top team here in Europe, if not the #1 team. Rival certainly feel like they have the claim to that one, but Mouse showing up here to play already early on. They are about 1,000 gold behind, really not even, more like 500 behind, but the experience is actually a big problem, but they're right here with NRG early on.
My favorite part by far, though, Finch, is just how willing both sides are to just try and duke it out. And Yammyn also, the precision on a lot of these final judgments, he's been under so much pressure so early on, and yet still manages to maintain the proper headspace necessary to know exactly when to fire off that final judgment.
He really has been staying poised, I think, is the word that I would use for Yammyn here, even under all this duress. Cherryo getting sieged even in his own jungle. Adapting drops the Fear No Evil, but Dardez does come in with the Wrath of Terror to create some space. Cherryo's out of there, but emilitoo waiting for him around the corner, brings him down. Now in the boxing match with BigManTingz, who has to retreat. The root lands, Final Judgment, nicks him, and emilitoo gets a double kill.
Oh, this Cherryo has just been absolutely devastating.
Of course.
Spudio forced to defend, but Dardez claims yet another one for the scoreboard of Mouse. 5-1 now on the Sylvanas. He might as well start building damage.
Apparently, at this point, he should. Now, that one does get a little bit gifted to him. I don't know why maniaK's underneath that tier 1 tower, but he does root him. He does pull him back in. He takes him down.
The full commit just to make sure that BigManTingz goes down. I can respect it because normally, if it's not Dardez on Sylvanas, I think he gets out of there 9 times out of 10, but because it's Dardez on Sylvanas, it's now completely opposite favors, and where there's a 9 times out of 10 chance Dardez will kill you.
Apparently there is 5-1-0 right now. He's actually 3rd in the net worth charts. Very rare for a support to be able to enjoy such a lucrative position in a game, but 5 kills will do that for you.
No matter what happens in this game, Finch, can we just automatically make Dardez the MVP?
I mean, just off this early start alone, right? It's
just so exciting to see that within the first 5 minutes of a match, and this Sylvanas is just popping off.
He's had a great game, and I know his damage hasn't been crazy. Well, maybe it has. He's 2nd on his team. Maybe it really has. He's at 3,000. But, I mean, he's really been hitting all his abilities. This has not been easy stuff that Dardez has been doing by any stretch.
No, he just makes it look like it's easy until you're actually playing Sylvanas yourself, and then you remember, wow, this guy does not feel mobile at all, or useful sometimes, because I know when I play Sylvanas, I definitely do not land maybe 1 out of every 30 pulls.
Yeah, you're playing and you're like, man, this pull feels slow and telegraphed. How does anyone ever hit any of these? And then Dardez lands them all the time, and the root's not the easiest in the world, but he's just right there where he needs to be. Gotten off to a great start, maintaining even at least XP-wise with emilZy, but the gold is definitely in his favor.
Things have calmed down just a little bit here now.
Thank goodness.
Which it was probably a bit overdue, but emilitoo maybe being the wake-up call that Mouse Esports needed in order to realize that they should just take a step back for a moment, because Mouse, they've been doing fantastic in terms of responding and counter-engaging to NRG, but they have started to fall just a little bit behind in the XP department. They want to make sure that this gap doesn't get too large between themselves and NRG, because once NRG has a 2 to 4 level lead over every role, that's when things are extremely problematic.
I'm going to follow you on that trail, but I want to give some shout out to Adapting, recognizing Cherryo still had beads on cooldown for like 25 more seconds when he used that Fear No Evil. That was not random, I don't believe, over there in the jungle, but yes, Mouse are right on the precipice, I think, of starting to give over a bit of a lead to NRG. They're still close now. Like, BigManTingz still a little bit ahead in the middle lane, and Nika's a little bit ahead in solo, but Adapting a bit ahead, and so is emilitoo in experience in their respective lanes.
And emilitoo's lead also, I mean, no faults to Spudio on that one. Not really a whole lot that the Hu-Yi could have done here, considering that emilitoo, with that Living Nightmare, was able to fully rotate over towards that mid lane section on those top right mid Harpies to join the fight, and getting a double kill is bound to boost you over your direct opposition.
Yeah, especially when one of those kills was on your direct opposition, you send them back to base. So emilitoo, kind of got off to a good start. Another pull, obviously, brings emilZy back in. They don't get the follow-up for it, but I think Dardez is clearly feeling himself.
Dardez will get hit by the evade and punish in the follow-up of the hieroglyphic assault. Not a whole lot of poke damage going on there against the tree, but enough to remind BigManTingz and Dardez that they shouldn't try to play too aggressively up on emilZy. I mean, they have been farming off of this mid T1 tower line, kind of forced to resign here, at least until Cherryo catches up a little bit more and farm. Still doesn't even have that second relic available.
emilZy gets pulled back in. Cherryo, after all he commits, really doesn't get any damage. The jump now down from emilZy, but no real follow-up. In fact, it might be Dardez who's the target. Wrath of Terror hits 2. Typhoon to follow up. Final Judgment and Fear No Evil committed. Finally, they get another kill onto Dardez and take him down. Adapting, though, wants Cherryo. He's still looking around the jungle. Could be a collapse here as emilitoo and emilZy all joining the fray.
Cherryo, he's just got one direction in mind, and it's to try and get away from emilitoo, but he's going to get rooted in place. Adapting with the teleport off that Sacred Monkey Toss. Catches right up and claims the bounty for Cherryo himself, and now Gold Fury under duress by the likes of NRG, and they're pretty likely to take it here.
They should be able to. No Cherryo to defend. Dardez still in base. He only just respawned. Spudio doesn't even have the ultimate, so Gold Fury will go to NRG to give them their first big gold lead of the game. About 2,500 here at the near 14-minute mark. They're up 4K experience as well, or very near that mark. NRG, for as even as things felt early, they're starting to try and pull away.
The problem is a lot of those kill bounties were, in fact, on Dardez, and most of them were Dardez just cleaning up the after effects of, and also a lot was set up by Dardez individually. Sylvanas' early game damage can be pretty troublesome for teams to deal with, and NRG, it was a soft reminder to them that the Wrath of Terror actually does do a decent bit of dot damage early on, even those Wisp helping to collect the life of emilitoo at one point. So some of that early game damage, though, not as important as the game progresses. We're starting to hit that soft zone of the mid game, and Dardez is just not able to have the same sort of damage output as he once did.
Yeah, I think if 1 or 2 kills go over to your support, that's fine. But I mean, ideally those 5 are not on Sylvanas. He can't do with it the same thing Spudio maybe could have if some of those went his way. But a big grouping here in NRG is from NRG in mid lane as they try and push down tier 1. Can't quite get it. Mousesports are able to hold them at bay, but they want to go on aggressive. Fear No Evil comes out. Cherryo in some trouble. Adapting follows him through, but Yammyn right there to snatch the kill away. Nika has to retreat as well as maniaKK pressures him out.
Adapting just wishing that animation could be a little bit faster if he wants to keep that kill away from Yammyn, but Yammyn, one more time, precision is everything. In the final judgments, I don't know if Adapting's going to be able to get last hits waiting for that overhand smash to come through, because Yammyn's going to land that every time, I think.
He's been very accurate so far as the blue buff gets stripped away from the Chang'e. maniaKK did a great job zoning Nika away there as Adapting comes in. Pyromancer just went down in favor of NRG, and they have started to group up and force down these objectives now. Gold Fury just went down. They grabbed the Pyromancer. They could even be looking for one of these tier 1 towers. The one in mid is low. NRG took that early lead, and they're starting to kind of push their will onto Mouse.
One of the main differences here and why this is careened so heavily towards NRG's favorite now is because during those initial fights, Mouse, sure, they would find some return kills, but more often than not, it was NRG actually invading into the jungle of Mouse. It was NRG finding at least one more pick than Mouse during the duration of those fights. And not only that, it was also NRG who ended up collecting the first couple of global objectives. And when you have all those things just lining right up for you, it was bound to happen that I think NRG's experience and their veteranship starting to shine through a little bit more here.
Give us just a moment here as we pull out a game, get everything sorted out for you, and get right back into it. But you talked about how they were able to get those early objectives. It's also that Yammyn really, despite the early start, hasn't been under that much pressure since then, right? He's been able to kind of freely cast from the back. Final judgments often coming when he's not even on screen anymore, right? He's getting those max range shots and doing his damage from safety. So his positioning, as well as adapting to those Fear No Evils, have really been causing problems for Mouse.
I think that's also just huge crediting towards Adapting, because Yammyn was getting pressured really heavily by Cherryo and BigManTingz, and then Adapting says, no, leave my mid laner alone, starts heavily, like, he's individually targeting and ulting Cherryo off cooldown.
Like just
now,
Cherryo,
yeah, it's just not giving Cherryo the time of day to even think about anything other than maybe securing his Harpy farm. But mostly, I feel as though Cherryo is playing this a little bit paranoid now, and he has all right to be with the way that Adapting has aggressed time and time again into his jungle.
And I like that you highlight that, because Cherryo's taken a lot of early spills here, 1-5-0, and not just that you're behind, but this definitely can start to affect your playstyle. You know, you don't want to be the one that's giving away these kills. BigManTingz gets caught out here in the mid lane, nowhere to go. Aegis lets him get away from the final judgment. Dunk gets avoided by the erratic behavior, has to drop the cage to try and drop this one off, at least gets his ultimate out as Spudio takes down the kill in duo lane on emilitoo. Adapting wants to follow up onto Dardez. maniaKK is here, Pillar of Agony, nowhere for the tree to go.
And somehow Yammyn still finds it all in the end.
Of course he does.
Everybody else is tanking it up for him, but Nika lurking around the corner, getting spotted out by the ward now. Cherryo comes in time, but it's the jet stream into nothing. Blinks are going to save energy, and well, that's everybody completely out of danger.
Cherryo was with Spudio in duo lane finding the kill onto emilitoo, which they at least did get that one, despite the fact that they dropped BigManTingz and Dardez. in the middle lane. emilZy going to try and keep this tier 1 tower standing, so a great rotation from the support, but the Sunbreaker even better to create some space. He does take down the tier 1, even has a chance on emilZy. No one else is nearby. Shell is going to be forced from the support. He does have the shield to keep him alive.
Spudio's got to be careful. emilitoo has respawned. He's on his way over.
Yeah.
Spudio's committing. He's looking for the kill. He managed to find it, gets an even trade out. So that's going to be at least something of a return for Spudio. Gets the T1, then the kill onto emilZy. But now it's emilitoo left to his own devices in this dual lane.
Yeah, I think Spudio might have recognized that once he stuck around in time for the ult to come out from emilitoo, that there wasn't really a way for him to survive. So he just jumps in aggressively, trades his life out, and gets the kill onto emilZy at the very least. BigManTingz and Dardez rotate over to try and defend the tier 1, and emilitoo and Adapting fall back.
Surprised to see NRG choose to fall back here also. Definitely think that emilitoo and Adapting could push forward more still if they wanted, but they're going to respect Mouse, and I think I can safely say that Dardez has certainly earned the respect of NRG in this game for those Sylvanas plays early on.
Yeah, at this point, Dardez is you definitely got to worry about him, and really this whole Mouse team, haven't they looked so much better recently? And I don't want it to sound like we're beating up on Jermaine by any stretch, because obviously Jermaine's excellent at the game, but if the team maybe couldn't practice the way they wanted or couldn't play the way they wanted to, then I'm glad that this Spudio change has kind of freed them up, because they all look so much better afterwards.
Right now, NRG looking for their second Gold Fury of the match.
Nice
emilZy
zone.
with a really nice ring. Yammyn charging up that Final Judgment, thinking about it, and he will elect to drop it once Cherryo blinks forward and drops that Typhoon.
Just a little bit too late there from Cherryo to contest. Waxing Moon gets avoided by the death from below. maniaKK does not get controlled, is able to make it out of there. A big team fighting ultimate from Nika that's off the mark.
All maniaKK was sent to do also was just play zone duty. He was Hades in the mid lane, and Mouse had to go through this Hades before they could even come near that Gold Fury. And, well, we all saw what happened next. NRG get the Gold Fury for pretty much free. Also, they get Nika's Waxing Moon, Cherryo's Blink, and his Typhoon. I'm not sure that BigManTingz still has that Golden Apple of Discordia, so that won't be too much, but it's just the steady bleed.
But I'm glad we talked about this Chang'e for a moment, though. Is this Chang'e paired with the Dardez sustain, is that enough to give Mouse a strong enough late-game win condition where, even though they are behind by a pretty substantial margin, I mean, is that an out they can still play to, that Mouse can try and play around even at this point, or are NRG far enough ahead?
The concern is, while Mouse have a decent amount of sustain across the team, where's the damage really coming from outside of Spudio and BigManTingz? It's a lot of pressure right now on the mid and Hunter, I think, from Mouse in order to try and compensate for Cherryo's lack of presence, because Cherryo was just choked out of everywhere to farm on the map. I think he gets lucky nowadays finding those back harpies even. So Adapting and Yammyn and emilitoo and emilZy have also really taken place to ensure that this Susano stays as far behind as possible.
Yeah, they've been relentless in terms of punishing Cherryo at every opportunity, and it really has limited some of their options. And to be fair, as good as the Chang'e is, it's not a Hell, it's not an Aphrodite. You know, those are such big late-game heals that you feel like you can't stop them no matter what if they get to a certain point. Chang'e, as strong as she is, as good as Waxing Moon is, it's still not quite to that level, so Mouse have got to kind of put the brakes on and not let this lead get any worse. But emilZy, they want to force the issue. Tier 1 tower in mid is going to come down.
Smart choice by Mouse there to not really bother trying to defend. The T1 just a little bit too low. Realistically, no way that they hold on to that one. But now it's going to be the tag team combination one more time against emilitoo. He's trying to ult away, but won't manage to make it out in time. The burst damage between Spudio and Cherryo proving to be too strong to handle.
But this is the right response from NRG Taco. Pyromancer going to come down as soon as they recognize Cherryo has committed in duo lane. Yammyn was here to help out with that, but emilZy can defend the tier 1 tower. That won't drop either. But Spudio can keep pushing, maybe grab this tier 2 if no one comes over, because Adapting wants to try and pressure out Nika.
I like this. This is gold and experience that Mouse are drastically in need of. Cherryo doing his best to try and zone away maniaKK. maniaKK going to end up dashing away into his own T2 tower, and emilZy not really certain which target he's choosing to go on.
Adapting drops the Fear No Evil onto Cherryo, forces him back defensively, but that rotation from Mouse was so important because maniaKK could have stopped that tier 2 grab. Now Mouse been able to grab some global gold to cut this lead down to 5,000, which at 22 minutes is definitely a lead, but it's more manageable than it was a moment ago.
And also the experience, like we were just talking about too. I think it's mostly experience right now that is really starting to impact Mouse. Itemization also pulling away from them a little bit, but at least Spudio still managing to stay fairly even with emilitoo, just behind by a slight. And this is actually interesting. I think emilitoo's building into the Odysseus bow last item.
That's what it's looking like. Hey, I mean, I like Odysseus bow. I know there's people out there that don't love it, but it's a ton of attack speed, especially once you get that, once he has a steroid going, that charge kind of flying through the team fight gives ton of extra damage. I mean, if that's where he goes, I like it.
I think it might also be just at capping, if not slightly under capping, but
yeah,
still,
perfect.
If you're going to go attack speed and penetration, Cherryo can get the job done in terms of shred potential. And I think that's NRG's primary goal here since they recognize how much
Atalanta's
sustain.
bow, Taco?
I love Atalanta's bow. I'm not trolling.
Me too! Buy it! As Spudio drops down the Sunbreaker over the top. BigManTingz gets controlled by the Fear No Evil, but is still alive for the moment. Adapting gonna rectify that by bringing him down. emilitoo gets controlled in the top end with the Wrath of Terra, but jumps into the wall. He'll be able to retreat safely. Nika gonna be the front line for them now as emilZy has to turn tail. They've taken too much damage so far.
maniaKK, though, still trying to get away. Gonna not get hit by the Typhoon from Cherryo, just a little bit too far to the left. Maybe thinking that more NRG members are coming through that choke point.
That's that small play, though, that's great from Yammyn. He hits the evade and punish, and that forces the response out from Cherryo. The Mad Guy's cloak, I think, is what lets him keep going, but it does kind of slow him down a little bit. All these small plays that NRG are always making to help make sure everyone makes it back out safely.
Their composition is just so strong in terms of being able to pull actives. You've got Adapting with the Fear No Evil, Yammyn's invade and punish, emilZy also with the slow at times. You don't want to get caught up in that Odin cage slow. And of course, emilitoo and maniaKK, they've got their silences. You have that Pillar of Agony. But right now, Yammyn wishes that he had some help because Cherryo looking to take him down, but the Jetstream follow-up just isn't there.
Not going to be able to find Yammyn. You highlighted the Odysseus' bow, and it looks like that is where we're going to be going at this point from emilitoo, but I'm a little bit surprised he didn't just go into crit. I mean, what does he need to attack speed pin through at this point with Nika on the Chang'e on the solo lane? We'll talk about it in a moment, though, as Gold Fury has been pulled. Mousesports can't all-in commit onto it. Now with emilitoo adapting, steering him down.
Feel as though that might be a result. emilZy still trying to just flirt with disaster here.
It's going to be Cherryo lurking on the backside. He can't quite find emilitoo, so instead he's just going to get right on out of dodge. Gold Fury being looked at again, but no full-on commit. NRG giving a lot of respect over to Mousesports, who I think at this point might be just falling back.
NRG don't really want this Gold Fury. I think they want the fight to find 1, 2, at best 3 picks, and then that's a free Fire Giant for sure.
At this point, I mean, 25 minutes in, they already have a 6,000 gold lead. How big of a deal does it make to get this Gold Fury? They'd much rather get Mouse to overcommit on this fight. Nika gets chunked there by the Soul Reaver proc, looks like coming out from Yammyn. That forces him back. maniaKK, though, gets controlled, rooted, is able to jump through, but who comes through? But Cherryo forces out the Pillar of Agony. He gets knocked up, eventually falls to no one else but Dardez. emilZy low on the right-hand side. Spudio, dive bomb, chases him down. That's going to take him out. Now Adapting forces out the Fear No Evil, but Beads lets Spudio keep fighting, and a double kill in Adapting.
Oh, but the turnaround potential from emilitoo is huge. Cherryo gonna end up, but he's up into that living nightmare. He's looking to tackle BigManTingz all by himself.
Strife comes out, but emilitoo jumps into the wall to get away. BigManTingz waiting on the unruly magic. It's just not enough damage. emilitoo doing a ton of work for NRG there in that fight to make it 3 for 3. Only 2 standing on each side.
Nika and Cherryo both left alive, but Cherryo just a little bit too low for comfort to try and charge in against emilitoo, and I can't blame him. I think if Cherryo tries to commit there, emilitoo just blows him up right in the face. And you were asking me, Finch, just a moment ago about why emilitoo would opt for this attack speed penetration type build. I think that is the reason why the damage mitigation that you receive off of that living nightmare, now that he's level 20, up to 30%, that's pretty intense when you think about it. And actually, I also feel as though this was the better suited build because of the fact, oh, it's actually 40% max rank, yeah.
That's a lot.
By the way, it's 40%.
It's a ton of damage mitigation, but no, I think you were just about to allude to this too. I mean, Nika building into a lot of health, right? Like, you know, chunk through it.
Also, Spudio, if you were to box Spudio in a raw 1v1, emilitoo wins this trade every single time because of the attack speed.
He's got too much for it, so he doesn't need to rely on those big crits. And if emilitoo's gonna have fights like that, build any way you want to, my man. That was huge because Spudio went off. Cherryo trying to drop the Typhoon, but he's being controlled. Waxing Moon controls everyone, but not EmilZy. He finds Cherryo and brings him down early on. The jungler from Mouse takes his 6th spill, and NRG free to go for FG if they want, but it looks like they're gonna back instead, or at least EmilZy is for now.
With vision right above the top left choke points of that Fire Giant pit, Mouse know that NRG aren't all in the area to try and pull this Fire Giant right away. They have some time to return to base and hopefully respond mid-Fire Giant siege from NRG. I think that this is a fight that Mouse could afford to take, but they have to be exact on their execution. They cannot afford to hesitate. It's got to be one way or the other. Do we drop the Fire Giant and look for the steal, or take the fight?
Well, Yammyn already has used Evade and Punish. maniaKK tries to get Dardez, who makes it out of there with the blink. EmilZy low already. Nika forces them back. Sunbreaker has come out from Spudio already, one of their big team fighting ultimates, and they want to capitalize. EmilZy cages in Dardez. Up into the air goes emilitoo, and he dashed underneath the tier 2 to look for a target. maniaKK is going to drop the Pillar of Agony to try and control Dardez, as Spudio has to retreat on the back end.
Adapting will end up getting hit by that golden apple from Discordia, but he's still alive. Doesn't have an Aegis to try and avoid any follow-up damage, but I love that overcommitment dive from Adapting and Emilitoo. Emilitoo charges straight into the T2 tower.
Yeah.
Definitely knew what he could get away with. And now it's Yammyn, who's in a lot of trouble here, going to be forced to Aegis out that Typhoon from Cherryo in mid.
That's a great play that Cherryo is able to make to get that Aegis down from Yammyn, try and make him a little bit easier. Yammyn will still have Purification Beads available, as Adapting has to come stop this wave over in left. Look at that tremendous wave. That would have almost certainly taken the Phoenix with that many archers.
Between that wave
But they're pulling
and the
FG.
next, I love this from Mouse. Everybody from NRG is just so displaced that this is their time if they're trying to steal this.
They need to make the call, though. All in commit or go for this fight. Mousesports floundering a little bit in between. NRG strip away the Fire Giant. EmilZy still has his life. emilitoo is going to fall. Nico takes him down, but NRG Esports steal the FG.
Absolutely devastating if you are Mouse right now to lose that Fire Giant.
Man.
It looks so free, and yet somehow EmilZy manages to strip it away. Couldn't tell if it might have been a Sacred Monkey Toss also from Adapting, but
Sure.
I think that was EmilZy.
I'm not quite sure who was able to strip it away, but Mouse just not quite clean enough on that. NRG have enough presence to strip it away. Mouse are going to find the tier 2 tower, but NRG, that's such a big play to be able to grab that FG. If Mouse get that, they're the ones that can push. This game is essentially even afterwards, but now it's feeling like it's all NRG. I mean, that's a momentum swing more than anything.
Mouse was making all the right calls. I still think that they're choosing to make the right decisions currently. EmilZy charging up that bear bomb, getting ready to go in, but instead he's going to get wind siphoned by Cherryo.
Gold Fury does go the way of Mouse to give them a little bit more gold to even things out. EmilZy gonna jump in aggressively. He is gonna drop down the cage and lock everyone in. Fear No Evil comes out. maniaKK able to come in and set up EmilZy for a kill. Nika in some trouble, even with the Suns. Double kill for the support EmilZy on Odin.
Absolutely massive consequences for Mouse. They stay just a little bit too long on their welcome, and now Yammyn is reaping every single part of the benefits. Final judgment over the wall, gonna clip against Spudio and Dardez, force those two to back away, but they split apart from each other. Dardez, he's just a walking mousetrap.
Definitely is gonna be the target. maniaKK and Yammyn shouldn't have too much trouble getting Dardez, even though he hits a nice route there, but it felt like, to me, momentum-wise, pressure-wise, everything went out of the sails of Mouse when that Fire Giant came up. NRG, they're now going to threaten the Phoenix on the left-hand side. Only a lone Spudio to try and defend. He is going to chunk down EmilZy, get away from Adapting, go in aggressive to try and find Emilitoo, but not enough. Adapting trades him out. Emilitoo with the Aegis survives. Deicide for NRG. It is going to be Cherryo back up here in a few seconds. They don't have EmilZy. Emilitoo's low. I don't think they can end off this, but they will grab the Phoenix.
But one Phoenix is just where it starts. NRG now with a very clear opening. Mouse can no longer afford to take up these huge team fight brawls and come out on the bottom end of it. If they end up losing 3 or 4 more members in another team fight, that's going to be the game, I think, if NRG still have Emilitoo alive.
My heart's breaking for Mouse on that one, man. It was so close, Taco, to being able to grab it. And I'm not saying they win the game off that, but it definitely changes the whole complexion of the set if they have a chance here to take this game 1. But now NRG in a pretty commanding spot. Phoenix on the left-hand side, down. They have their win condition. If they win another fight, they can push right through there.
Also, keep in mind that Mouse, for what it's worth, I believe they have to have the back-to-back. They need it to be a 2-0 just to tie things up. Right. And then there's still more involved with their win conditions for getting things even at LAN consideration.
Yeah, Mouse need the 2-0 just to get the ball rolling, really, to make their way to LAN. I think they've got to win the set that they're going to have after that one as well to make it so. Mouse needed that fight to go well. They needed that pull. It was such a good recognition that NRG got pulled over to the left lane, that they had to defend that Phoenix, that they had the man advantage. They just didn't have the secure.
Also, I don't know about you, Finch, but for me, this feels like one of the more aggressive matches that I've personally watched NRG participate in.
They don't normally get in the muck early like that, right?
No,
yeah.
That felt exactly very uncharacteristic in comparison to what we've seen from NRG all throughout the past few years even. And for them to pretty much jump right into the thick of things with Mouse, I mean, not only was it incredibly fun to see, but it also made perfect sense.
They kind of met Mouse, you know, at Mouse's house, it felt like, right? Didn't they? They played Mouse's playstyle early and came out on top for all intents and purposes. So a great early game there from NRG, and obviously I don't want anything to take away like they won this game on that fluke play or anything. By no means is that what I'm saying, but that was a chance for Mouse, a really small window to maybe get back in. NRG slammed that window shut, and now they're in control. Mouse can still defend for sure, but it's not going to be an easy task.
No matter what, Dardez can still be MVP in all of our hearts.
He started the game off, what, 5-1-0? That's how he started this game? Absurd.
Unfortunate that he's now 6-5-2, but you got to give credit where it's due, man. That unofficial triple kill in the duo lane was just beautiful.
If there's an award for my favorite 10 minutes of gameplay out of any one player, he can definitely have that, right? Yeah.
This game in general, I think, has probably been the most exciting 10-minute preview into a match we have had in quite some time, possibly even in the entirety of the summer split.
I think that you can make that case. It was a great early game from these two squads, and it's just that NRG came out that little bit better, which they often seem to do, don't they? As now they're taking a look here at the Fire Giant on the right-hand side. No way for Mouse to come defend this. They're just going to push up that wave and duo, try and get that Phoenix respawning as soon as possible, and then set up for the defense. Taco, do Mouse have the tools to make this defense happen?
We've seen them win portions of fights before. If they execute this perfectly, there might be a chance. But the other thing you have to also keep in mind, you've got emilitoo with his attack speed pen build. It's ideal for sieging structures.
Yes.
And the burst damage also from NRG, just so incredibly strong that if Mouse mess up for even a second, that's it.
They need a subpar Fear No Evil to come out from adapting, a subpar Final Judgment. That's just the beginning. Then they need a perfect Waxing Moon, I feel like, and a perfect Typhoon if they want to weigh in. They need kind of all four of those things to go exactly right, as adapting push down this tier 2 in mid should be able to do this by himself with just that minion wave and then group up with the rest of the squad.
And I like that it's Cherryo who's been sent to try and cater to that weakened Phoenix that's just respawned from Mouse there on the left-hand side. It makes sense because Susano, being the most mobile god on the team, it probably has the highest survivability option, and you're also going to expect adapting to be the other end of the match where he's just looking for as much pressure as possible in the mid lane. Speaking of pressure, Cherryo.
He's going to look for the pull on the Yammyn. Strife is perfect. Yammyn is out early on. Mouse with such an important pick to catch down Yammyn. They were switching over to try and make the push in mid instead of right, and Mouse perfectly punished it.
And look at this retreat. emilitoo already in a flurry, having to toss out the crystallized curses just to make sure he has that route ready to go from the vicious barrage in case Cherryo decides to follow up from that jet stream.
This is so difficult because Mouse do need to capitalize, but they have to be very careful about how they do it because, again, that Phoenix on left for them is weakened. If NRG win a fight cleanly, they can just go push it, but with the 5v4, without Yammyn, without a ton of their damage, Mouse, they recognize they have an opportunity now to try and keep their land hopes alive, to try and break down the door of NRG. This Phoenix could certainly be the push.
NRG's still at the Fire Giant, by the way.
That's
this is
true.
Just Mouse being completely undeterred.
Okay.
There it is. There's the breaks.
Okay.
I really thought they were going to go for that for a second there.
Me too.
They had me going, I won't lie. But Sprint's getting popped now from NRG. They're trying to find this.
They're not going to let them back.
Oh, no.
But Cherryo is going to back. They don't know where Cherryo is. Cherryo should be able to go over and defend that left-hand Phoenix. NRG, even without Yammyn, are going to start sieging down mid. They don't want to allow Mouse to siege. emilitoo goes in. Ratatira comes out from Dardez trying to turn any more aggression. That's another big team fighting ult they lost. But Phoenix and left still standing. Mid Phoenix still good. Yammyn about to regroup. But Cherryo could be in trouble. EmilZy going to try and catch him out with the cage, but Cherryo gets out.
No. Star Katana alongside of that jet stream, just a couple of different ways for Cherryo to get out of there, which is why I think he was initially on creep farm duty over there on the left-hand side. But this is NRG's opportunity. Yammyn is back in the action now, playing a little bit more reserved after getting blown up from one-win Siphon pull-in.
He doesn't have beats for another, 10 seconds, so there's a small window where NRG are likely going to wait to make sure Yammyn is safe, but no. EmilZy goes in right away. He blinks to the backside. Typhoon being charged. He does get the knock-up onto Yammyn, no immediate follow-up. Waxing Moon comes out, but emilitoo immunes it. EmilZy drops the cage, but Cherryo gets emilitoo early on. Fear No Evil comes out, and Cherryo gets locked down. He's low, and Yammyn finds him over the wall. 1-for-1.
1-for-1 trade-outs. emilitoo for Cherryo's life cost, and
probably
Mouse,
in Mouse's favor, right?
I think they're more than happy that it's emilitoo who ends up falling here. Now a lot of that physical damage going to be coming out of adapting instead, or at least that's what they're going to try to make happen. Nika and Dardez combined, they're going to have enough sustain to prompt NRG to back off.
Wow, NRG have given Mouse a ton of respect all game long, it's felt like. At least from where I'm sitting here, Taco, where they played patiently around the Fire Giant. They haven't really made any overcommits, and we're seeing why. This Mousesports roster is for real in every way. The defense is coming out from them several times now to prevent NRG from breaking the base. They know that to beat this Mousesports squad, you got to be as close to perfect as possible. And that's what they're playing for here right now as we reset, approaching the 40-minute mark. Mouse still very much in this one.
Pyromancer going to get collected, but that's pretty much a 200 for pass and go credit now for NRG. There's pretty much nothing on the map that they really need.
Don't undersell pass and go now. Sometimes you need that 200, Taco. You be limping across go. And you need it sometimes. I don't know.
All right. I'll take it back. I will respect that, and I withdraw my original statement, but NRG, for all intents and purposes, they're mostly just waiting for this Fire Giant respawn. I'm uncertain whether or not Mouse want to try and contend this, however. They've had some really successful Phoenix defenses. Not sure if that's going to translate over into the jungle fights. Think that might be a little bit more of NRG's terrain.
This is very curious. Does Mouse really feel comfortable taking this fight off the Phoenix in the jungle on neutral ground? maniaKK goes in aggressive, is going to drop the Pillar of Agony in the middle of everybody. EmilZy gets the dunk. Fear No Evil controls and spreads everyone. Cherryo on the backside all alone, but BigManTingz has already been removed.
Cherryo, though, still trying to handle emilitoo and maniaKK at the same exact time.
He finds him.
Dead. He just blows up emilitoo in the process. Bloodforge passive now going to be procced for Cherryo, so he's got that additional mobility, and he's trying to find Yammyn.
Trying to see if there's anyone else he can track down. Cherryo has been coming up huge for them in the late game. Yammyn finds him on the backside, but Beads allows him to live. The shell, though, keeps him alive. Yammyn still standing. Cherryo gets sent back to base.
The rest of Mouse now trying to play catch-up. Adapting's made it back into the fight. He has that Fear No, in fact, he doesn't have the Fear No Evil for just a little bit longer. Thought that he might have had it from how aggressively he was poised at first. And Spudio, Nika, and Dardez are the lone survivors of that brawl. But Mouse are still hanging tight with NRG. 41 minutes and climbing.
I cannot believe it. I mean, Cherryo finding emilitoo probably keeps this game going because if they have their Hunter, I think NRG are much more aggressively positioned right now, but they should still be able to grab this Fire Giant. Mousesports tried to defend away from the structure, away from the Phoenix, and a great initiation. I mean, EmilZy and maniaKK, they're maniacs the way they jumped in there, man.
Keep in mind that from around the 14-minute mark to, I would say, 25, 26 minutes, Mouse looked like they had absolutely zero control over the outcome of this match. And then suddenly, it's like they're revitalized out of nowhere. They start finding the picks onto emilitoo, onto Yammyn, and one by one, they just barely keep managing to stagger those death timers and buy themselves more time to come back.
Still, though, patience from NRG, respect given over to Mouse. They should be able to burn this Fire Giant. Mouse finally give up the Ghost. They're not going to be able to defend it. They fall back towards their base. 42 minutes in. NRG grab another Fire Giant. They're ready to come in and push. Remember, Phoenix in left is weakened for Mouse. That could be the target.
I like that decision, though, from Mouse. That's the kind of call that can be really tough to make with how back and forth a lot of these fights have been. But I feel that the jungle fight is just still a little bit more in favor for NRG, and as a result, it's just better off if Mouse try to take their final stances up on their own structures with those Phoenixes.
But this is it, just 5v5 Smite at this point, Taco. I mean, level 20 for everyone, full build for everyone, upgraded relics for just about everyone. The Aegis or BigManTingz still has not been upgraded. I gotta imagine my man has 500 gold. Go ahead and hit that real quick and get that upgraded as well. He doesn't. 200, never mind. He does not have it. All right. How's that true? How can that be true?
Sometimes you just forget. I think that in the heat of the moment, with all the action that's been happening in this game, Finch, BigManTingz, it probably just slipped his mind.
But everything else, aside from that one thing, guys, they're very even between these two squads. They're ready to rock. NRG grouping up in the duo lane side. He's ready to push.
BigManTingz also, his scoreline a little bit deceiving here in comparison to the actual value that he's had for his team. You can tell just by looking at the player damage that he's been one of the main reasons Mouse have been able to hold on for so long.
You're exactly right. 08-6 does not tell the story of the 28,000 very relevant damage, the big stripes he's been able to find. But they've got a full minion wave. EmilZy goes into cage. Dardez knocks up 2. Fear No Evil comes out for Dardez, and they get his life, but emilitoo very low. Apple from BigManTingz is off the mark, but maniaKK still in tower. He barely survives. Spudio drops the ultimate, but it feels a little bit too late. All of NRG are still standing.
Everybody's just so low, and that was everything from both sides. emilitoo, the only one still having that nightmare, or living nightmare to his name. But you don't really want to utilize that ult into the Phoenixes unless there's already somebody there to tank it up for you.
It's truly not a team fighting ultimate. If you needed any more proof, you're kind of seeing it there. Still, NRG want to try and siege down this Phoenix while they have the man advantage. They fell back. They were able to sustain. There's no ultimates left available. Tingz finds the strife, but only onto EmilZy. They still cannot find a way 44 minutes in to break the base of Mouse.
Waxing Moon, though, about to be available one more time. Same thing can be said for Fear No Evil and EmilZy's cage.
And Mouse have to give up the Phoenix this time. They fall back, they cannot defend. That means fire minions will once again be a problem now for Mouse. A way into the Titan room for NRG has been established, and now they want this Phoenix in middle lane. Cherryo has to fall back. The damage coming out from Yammyn is just too strong. maniaKK goes forward, but gets control. Drops Pillar of Agni, but BigManTingz deletes him. Cherryo is able to fall on the back end, though. Adapting finds him.
But EmilZy just barely manages to survive. Nika gets whacked by the Final Judgment, but doesn't even seem to mind. emilitoo now moving forward, takes out BigManTingz with some assistance from Adapting. Great 3-man knockup out of Dardez, but it's still not enough. NRG take down the mid Phoenix and 2 more members from Mouse.
They get the mid Phoenix, they get the left Phoenix, but still NRG can't in. EmilZy too low. Adapting is too low. No relics available for emilitoo either. Only one who's looking comfortable is Yammyn. Full health, both relics. I don't know how he does it, Taco. I mean, he must hide on some secret pocket of the map because his positioning is just too good.
It has to be good. At this caliber of play, even the slightest step out of position or just being a little bit too far forward could end up costing your team the entire match. These death spawn timers are so long now. Approaching the 46-minute mark, everybody's taking at least 60+ seconds to get back into the action, and with that in mind, neither side is really willing to play it super aggressive, but they are definitely holding out and just trying to burn the relics. You can tell how stingy a lot of these carries have been, though, with their beads.
At this point, they've been very, very patient because there's so much that's on the line here, Taco. Mousesports with a chance to make it, if they can get this set on the 2-0, to at least give themselves a shot to try and go to land. But NRG, if they can grab this set, they'll be confirmed. And I know they'd like to go in with that 1 seed ahead of Rival, too, if they can grab as many wins as they can. That's what NRG are trying to lock up.
The tough part here is that NRG missed out on the spring land.
That's true.
So you know that they were gunning from summer the moment that the competition picked back up again. And that has not been easy for Mouse to tackle. This is pretty much the final step, and now might be a clean 1v1. No, cancel that, emilitoo.
Oh, they're just gonna try and make their way in. No, this is Mouse defending. Okay, they're good. emilitoo jumped around to try and come over and catch out and try and catch out Cherryo, but Cherryo's on the Susano. He made his way out. He's able to survive. I thought we were gonna have a 1v1 man fight from the junglers to see who was gonna live and what was gonna happen, but in the end, they don't fight. They're just gonna come back over to FG.
I like that patience from Cherryo. Kind of just waited on using another ability or auto attack to make sure that his blink could resurface and be available. And that was the main reason why emilitoo actually backed off, is because Cherryo blinks away. So that's a huge relic to pull. It means that Cherryo can't afford to play as aggressively against Yammyn.
No, you're right, and NRG are able to grab the fire giant. But look at this. This is one cool thing. The health chalices are starting to come out now to give them just a little bit more sustain on these long pushes, too. I don't believe they had these all earlier. These are some late-game pickups. As Mouse are kind of hiding around the corner, but I don't think NRG are going to come by this path. maniaK's going to be the initial target. But the off the mark was Nika with the waxing moon. maniaK does not get stunned. Nika, they really needed that one to connect. Now the collapse is on. emilZy drops the cage to collect Dardez. Spudio gets forced out by the Fear No Evil on the backhand side. Adapting jumps in to try and track him down, but the apple comes out. Cherryo alone on the front side against emilitoo and Yammyn, but emilZy going to keep pushing.
emilZy still looking for more. Spudio trying to get as many heals as he can from Nika, still keeping his hunter alive for the moment, but emilZy finally takes down Spudio.
Ataraxia has joined the fray, or rather emilitoo has, as he jumps in. Ataraxia not here, but a great name to say during a team fight. BigManTingz in some trouble, but maniaKK brings him down. Yammyn able to get the lockdown onto Nika, who's trying to disengage, but the final judgment just too good. Only Dardez is standing. He's had some great plays on the tree, but I think defending 1v5 might be too much. NRG gonna take the game from Mousesports and try and put the coffin on their chances of going to land.
Mouse have style, though. They made sure to go out with a bang, and I respect them all the more for it. The concept was there. I like the idea to try and catch NRG off guard, flank them from behind, because that is something that Mouse did not do a single moment throughout that entire game. They were constantly just looking for the counter initiation, the counter gank, so maybe if we catch them off guard, we can end up finding some successful picks. I think maniaKK was dead to all right if that waxing moon connected. Unfortunate there that Nika was just a moment too late on that one, but overall, really fantastic one between NRG and Mouse.
What a great, right? It's a 47-minute game, or very close to it. That doesn't feel like it at all because of just how close and how well these two teams played. And NRG, I like the way they played that game. They played it with a lot of patience and a lot of respect towards Mouse. It doesn't matter if it takes you 47 minutes to win, as long as you put yourself in the best position to win. And that's what they repeatedly did that whole game, was they made sure they weren't throwing, they made sure they weren't giving up any opportunities.
I might be mistaken on this also, but I do believe, I remember emilZy even stating himself that Mouse were a team to look out for in the future to come. And I think that this is the reason why we see those kind of statements being made from NRG themselves. It's because Mouse have just been looking fantastic ever since that swap-up happened.
They really have been looking great, and it just goes to their credit that we're actually picking an MVP from the other side. It's NRG that had to decide who was the MVP or the most valuable player there in that Game 1, and it was only Game 1. This set is not over yet, Taco. Let's go ahead and get over to the analysts and have them break down what happened there in that first game.
Thanks a lot, John. Thanks a lot, Taco. And with that game, that win means that NRG will solidify themselves going to land. So NRG and who did we see play earlier?
Oh, we saw, actually it was Rival that played earlier. Yeah.
Rival and NRG will be going to land. Very exciting here. We know our North American representatives as well, United and Space Station Gaming. So, Mouse, they tried, and this was really close. And honestly, Toli, I think they might have been able to do it at the end if things worked out.
It was the Fire Giant steal that really started to spin things for NRG. It was a great attempt. Mouse had a small window to secure it. I don't even know what necessarily stole it, but at the end of the day, NRG with the right plays at the right time and with the Fire Giant buff able to just control the mid game from there. We're playing very methodically, very difficult for Mouse to hold on to these Phoenix Sieges with Yammyn's Thoth.
Yeah, there's emilZy just slamming down, and that's going to be a big win for NRG as they're able to snatch that one away from Mousesports, who had a decent hold on it. You see that they were still playing from behind, but able to make big things happen despite the fact. And then, you know, even in that last team fight we were watching before coming back to the desk there, totally, I mean, that looked like that could have been Mouse's fight.
Mouse definitely setting up a nice little ambush, but I think Dardez, he got in combat at the same time that he wanted to blink and use that Wrath of Terror, whiffing everybody, actually, unfortunately for him. And it was yet again a nice attempt, but nice doesn't really matter here. NRG were able to hold on to that last game.
Yeah, with a fantastic performance, Yammyn, the mid laner, going to be able to take MVP. This guy, I keep saying it, man, just consistent.
Sitting at 10, 2, and 14, Mouse were always on the back foot with the range. And it was EmilZy jumping in, it was maniaKK jumping in, and then adapting, sending him up every now and then with such a great performance from not only Yammyn, but adapting, sitting at 8, 2, and 15 for this game. Very close call of who was going to be the MVP in the first game.
Almost 50,000 damage. That's an incredible amount. Even though the game went this long, it's still an incredible amount to see from the mage. We'll see.